Hi guys, just as a little appendix to the last video I put up, I thought I should mention this book called The Fighting Man of Japan, The Training and Exercises of the Samurai by F.J. Norman. F.J. Norman had been in the British cavalry in the late 19th century, and he's a bit of he's an interesting character. We know something about him, but we don't know a huge amount about him. But essentially, he went to Japan probably as a language teacher, English language teacher. But he had a military background, and he was very interested in what we would now call martial arts. And so he started studying Japanese martial arts. And took a particular interest in Japanese swordsmanship, and this book is very interesting for a number of reasons. Most importantly and significantly, it's the first European book to talk in depth about Japanese swordsmanship. Okay, so it's for anybody who studies Kenjutsu, Iai or Kendo. This is the first Western book really talking about it. Secondly, of course, this was published, the original book was published in 1905, so it was published at quite an early date, before modern Kendo and Iai and Kenjutsu really became what we would recognise them as now. At this date, it was just Japanese swordsmanship. There were different schools practising different styles, and he basically studied with a very reputable, a very good teacher, high-ranking teacher, and you know, he talks about how the art was then, so it's an interesting glimpse of how Japanese swordsmanship was in 1905, which is not that long after the samurai had been suppressed, and you know, it's not long after swords were still frequently being used for conflict in Japan, and of course it's around the time of the war with Russia. And in the war with Russia, Japanese swordsmen did encounter Russians with bayonet and sabre, both on horseback and in trenches on foot. And there was a fair amount of hand-to-hand combat, which is an interesting topic aside of what I'm talking about in this video, but there was quite a bit of hand-to-hand combat in that war between Russia and Japan, and some quite interesting accounts of single combats between Japanese and Russians. But there we go, it's an interesting book. You can get it on Amazon. I'll just put it closer to the camera there. There we go. You can get it on Amazon. It does have some pictures in it. Where do we go? It's got a few pictures in like that, which look kind of like Kendo, but if you actually look at the techniques that they're doing, they've got similarities to Kendo, but they're quite different to the modern sporting form of Kendo. They're more swordsmanship. So, very interesting book. There we go. And he was a British cavalry trooper before going out to Japan, so he had a basis in Western swordsmanship as well first. Cheers.